today's session. Good morning, Ma. Good morning. You're welcome. What are you hoping to learn from today's webinar? You can put in the chat. You can also just unmute yourself and tell us what you're hoping to learn. As people join, more and more people are joining. So anybody has any expectation, anything that maybe they're thinking, I wanted to just learn, I wanted to pick up from this webinar, I'll try and do it in an hour. So the earlier I start, the better. Anybody wants to help me? Okay, if I want to be able to kickstart writing and know how to keep writing, thank you, Ma, for sharing that. Okay, to kickstart writing and know how to keep writing. Okay, thank you for that. And I guess that's what most people, or some people have books, like some of us already have books, which I know already, and maybe it's just the product part of it. Let's just look into that. So let me share my screen once again. So let's get this started. Let's get this started. Most of us know me, but for those that don't know me, I'm just going to introduce myself. So this is the free webinar, 7 easy steps to write your book in 30 days. And then we're also going to talk about how to create products from it. So as you join, let us know where you're joining from. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So for those that don't know me, my name is Olabode. I'm a Maxwell certified speaker, coach, trainer. I'm an author of 11 published books. I have about 3 in the works right now that I'm writing. And why do I actually love to help people write their books? I think I started writing as a child. I started writing at the age of 8, 9. But just like a lot of us know, you grow up and then life happens to you and you stop writing. So that was what happened to me. And then one day, as I was seeking God, seeking God for my purpose, he reminded me of how I used to write as a child. And that kick started my writing again. And I remembered, oh, it's true. I used to say I'm going to help other people write their books. So really, that is why I'm doing this. That is why I started the Writers Bootcamp. That is why I do everything I have to do with book coaching, because it just reminded me that beyond me just doing it for myself, I can also help other people that also want to write. So that's the reason why I do this. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a mom of 4. I co-pastor church with my husband. I'm a purpose midwife. So what I mean by that is when people come into my life, they must not remain the same. I stir them up to bring out the greatness that God has put on the inside of them. I'm a conference host, I'm a podcaster, and the list goes on. But these are some of the books that I have written. I have 11, but these are just some of them that I've written. These are, okay. Okay, to launch, I'm just reading some of the chats in there as I do this. Thank you, Pastor. To launch my new book with ease, turn my book to business and network with you. Most importantly, the step of obedience, God helping me. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm grateful. So these are some of my books. And here is, I have my son's book here as well. So I started to write my books, got excited. And then my son went through a childhood cancer called leukemia. And my husband and I tried to get him to write his book. He didn't want to write it. But after a long period of time, he went with me to a conference, and the lady at the conference said, is one of my mentors, she said, someone in need is waiting at the other end of your obedience. And he said, Mommy, it's time to write the book. And he started writing. And he did not stop writing till the book was done. He launched the book in 2020. So this is his book that we helped him to write. And then in 2020 January, I have a Facebook group. So I remember that year, that January, I just sensed that God wanted me to help about 3 people at least get one goal accomplished. So I put the word out there. We did a raffle and 3 people won. And one of the people that won, I said to them, just one goal for that January, I wanted to help them with. And this lady came, her name is Nonya. She had a goal. She had started writing a book in 2019 and she was not able to finish it. She said she had abandoned it. So her goal that month was just to get that book written. So I remember I said, okay, I'm going to do coaching with you for that month. We had coaching, and I remember in 10 days, she wrote her book. So this is her book that she wrote in 10 days. She was so excited. So I always say, but I said book writing is kind of like it's what gets me excited is being able to come alongside somebody else. The person says, I want to birth my book. I will say, let's go. We can do this. It's like a joint program together. So today, I believe that each one of us can write our books. I believe that each of us can bring out the businesses we have in the books. So let's talk about 4 reasons why you must write your book. I'm going to run through this quickly, and then I'll go to the 7 easy steps. Why must you write a book? So if you have a book in you and you don't write it, we may never experience your uniqueness. I always tell these people, each one of us, there's greatness or there's uniqueness, that we have like peculiar stories. So we may never experience, and each one of us, like I wrote in my book, each one of us is a masterpiece. So each one of us is unique in our own right. Each one of us is, a masterpiece is a unique work of art. So how do I experience the flavor of me that God has put on the inside of me if I never bring this to the world? The world will never experience it. And often we can share this in a book. When we share it in a book, the experience, your uniqueness, people are able to get a hang of, oh, this is who Liz is. This is who Adesayo is. This is who Adebola is. They can get it in your book. If you and I write a book on a particular topic, we can never write the same way. So there is a uniqueness that each one of us brings to the table. And that's why I said, everybody, if you have a message, you have a book. If you have a story, you have a book. Because there is a uniqueness that God has put on the inside of you that he wants you to birth to the people that are going to read your book. Another thing that writing does is that writing your book helps to position you as an authority on the topic you are writing about. When you write your book, it helps to position you as an authority on the topic you're writing about. So for example, if somebody is writing on authenticity, like now Dr. Alisa has a book coming out on authenticity, I don't know, she has this unique angle of writing on authenticity. But because when you're writing that book on authenticity, you have done your research. You've found, apart from what you know, you've got research. You've learned from other people. So it is not just what you know. Now you're gleaning from other people that have gone ahead on that particular topic. You are going to zone in on that topic. You're going to learn about that topic. For some of us, we have unique experiences that nobody has gone through, but we know that, and now what we've gone through, we can now begin to also research more on that. And as we write on it, we have so much that we've learned. And then it positions us as an authority on that topic that we're writing about. So writing a book makes you an authority. Even that when you hear the word author, authority, the start of authority is author. So authority is conferred on you when you become an author. It's saying that you know something about that topic. So I always tell people that writing a book, it just gives you that edge that, okay, you're not just talking about it, you know what you're saying. Number 3, if you don't write, we may never learn from your life experiences. Some people have gone through abuse and they just know if they can just share 5 red flags that somebody doesn't have to go through, somebody else you will save them a lifetime of going through that abuse. If you would just share those 5 red flags with us, you can save some young ladies from getting into wrong relationships. So every life experience that we've gone through, guess what? I believe that when you write a book about it that can help somebody else, you are bringing that your experience to life. It's not just about you, but it's about what can somebody else learn from me? What can somebody else glean from me? What can somebody else learn from what I have gone through? And so I always say that every experience that we've gone through is not wasted. Our experiences are never wasted. They are never wasted because there's somebody that is meant to glean from your experiences. And then number 4, I think, is the biggest one. If you don't write, you rob you rob us of your legacy that should outlive you. You rob us of the legacy that should outlive you. If you don't write, I always say this thing. If you don't write, imagine, Miles Monroe often says that the graveyard is the richest place on earth. A lot of people take the books the experiences that God has given them to share with the world, take it to the grave. In the grave, there's greatness in the grave, there's gold in the grave, but nobody can access it. But if you would just write that book, Miles Monroe now has been dead for, I don't even remember how many years now, 7, 8 years now. You pick up his book and you are still gleaning from it. You pick up people, there's a book that I like a lot. It's called As a Man Thinketh. I think it's James Allen. That guy has been gone. That book, you pick it up, you are still gleaning. So when we write books, it's not about us. It goes beyond us. It's talking about legacy. It's something that you are giving to the next generation. You are saying, you know what, I know about food business. If you can start a food business this way, let me share the nuggets that I know about food business to help somebody else that wants to start a food business. It might be 5 years down the lane. They might be able to glean some nuggets from that book that can help them to not make some mistake that I had to make. And so when you write a book is a legacy. A book goes beyond you. I always tell people that a book is the beginning of so much. It is not just a book, but a book is the beginning of so much. And I'm going to come to that when I talk about the products. So 7 easy steps to help you write that book in 30 days. And please, if we have any questions, I'm going to take questions at the end. If we have any questions, please let them. If you have any feedback, anything to add to it, please feel free to drop in the chats. That would be great. So let's see. So the very first thing I want to share is number one thing to 7 easy steps to write your book is, number one is you must believe you can. There is something about believing that, you know what I was about to say, if I tell people at my writer's boot camp, I can come and tell you how to write your book. I can challenge you, I can do everything. But until you believe you can write that book, there is really little I can tell you. Until you choose that, okay, I'm going to believe that I can actually write this book. Because I'm a person of faith. And the word of God says, I remember, I think it's a Message version that says in one of the verses that, I think it's a Mark 9:23, but the Message version, that if there is anything, I'm trying to remember how exactly it phrases it, but it says that Jesus was saying, is there any ifs? If you can believe it, it is possible. The question is, do you believe it? Henry Ford says it's whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So it means that it's up to you. You are the one that will decide whether you think you can. So the belief is really up to you. It's up to you to decide. And I just want to pull up that verse that I mentioned just now. I remember seeing and I was like, wow, this is so powerful. It's the way that was put that was really, really, really powerful. He said, okay, Jesus said, if there are no ifs among believers, anything can happen. There are no ifs. So your belief is up to you. There are no ifs if you would believe. So someone is saying, oh, you know what? I don't really know how to do this, but can you at least start with belief? Can you believe you can? If you can believe it, guess what? Belief is a product of your mindset. So first of all, in writing is a mindset thing. You must have the mindset that I can do this. If you believe you can write it, don't even think about the process yet. Just believe you can write it. Because if you believe you can write it, guess what? It's the very first step to starting the journey of writing. Because writing starts in the mind. Before you even put anything on paper, it starts with our imagination. It starts with what you are believing that you can do. So writing is so powerful. A belief is a state or habit of mind in which trust or confidence is placed in something or in some person or thing. Something that is accepted, considered to be held as an opinion. So your belief is an opinion. As I always say, if someone that I remember somebody said to me one day, oh, I can't write. I just can't write. I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't see myself writing. And I said, that is the very first place you have to start from. You have to believe that you can write. Believe that you have it in you. You have what it takes to write. The people that write don't have two heads. They're not different. They just often will take a step. They just will take a step of faith and say, okay, you know what? If I have a message, maybe I have something that the world that can use to add value to the world. That is where it starts from. I love this quote as well. Believe you can and you are halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. So when we believe we can, guess what? The journey is half done. Because like I said, writing is a thing of the mind. It's a mindset. So if you just start to believe you can, okay, you know what? I can do this. Let me get my journal. Let me even start penning things down. Let me see what is going to come to my imagination, what is going to come to my thoughts. But if you don't believe you can, you won't even attempt to even start. So that's why believing starts the process. Number 2 is you must ask yourself questions. Ensure you have a why. And not just a why, you must have a strong why. So what would you like to write about and why? Why do you need to write this book? Like I mentioned earlier, somebody has gone through abuse and an abusive relationship, and they're thinking, there were some red flags before I got married to that guy. If I can just share this with A, B, C, D, E, and E, if I can just share it with 5 young women, maybe they wouldn't have to go through what I went through. If I can just share the red flags that I saw and I ignored, maybe I can help them. So ensure you have a strong why. You know what a strong why does for you? A strong why helps you to keep you in the game. It helps you to keep you writing until you're done. Why am I writing this book? For me, as an example, why do I write books? Because I always say, Lord, I always say that there's my almost like my life verse is John 17:4 message that says, I glorify God on earth, completing down to the last detail what you assigned me to do. So I always say, Lord, I don't want to take anything to the grave. I don't want to take anything to the grave. So if there are books in me, if there's lessons I can tell people, if I can teach people about purpose, if I can teach women about intentionality, if I can teach women about growth, whatever I can teach them, whatever I have learned in my life, whatever is working, can I put it in a book? Can I teach others about it? And that, like I told you, that's why this bootcamp started. Why can I teach them? So ensure you have a strong why. That's why we keep you going. When you feel like, oh, I don't want to write anymore, I'm just wasting my time. No, 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 no. You will go back to that why and you pick that why and say, no, I have a reason to keep going. There is a generation waiting to read this book. There are women that need to see this. There are women that need to hear this. There are women that they just pick up my book. They're going to be challenged to go to do all that they need to be doing. They are teenagers that I have been called to, that if they would just read this book. So that your why is what keeps you going. So I always say, asking questions is so key. What is it I want to write about and why do I want to? So you're not just writing, but you have a strong why, and that why would keep you going. Will keep you going. So you must have a purpose for the book. There must be a purpose. There's an unknown quote that says that purpose is the why that answers every other why. So you have to have a strong why. Number 3 is that you must decide to be committed to starting and finishing the book. You must decide to be committed. Decide, I'm going to be committed to. I'm not just going to start this book, but I'm going to finish this book. It's a commitment on your part. I told somebody one day, I said, I give myself challenges. I give myself challenges. Why? Because you can make yourself accountable to yourself. That's how I see it. I find that even when you let yourself down, even you sometimes you feel bad. I said I was going to go for a walk today. I didn't go. Why didn't I go for a walk? You ask yourself. So I find even with writing a book, you must hold yourself accountable. You're not just going to say, I'm going to write a book. You're going to say, you know what? I'm going to hold myself accountable. I decide I'm going to start this book and I'm going to finish it. And then that why is what keeps driving you. You have a strong why that drives you, that keeps you going, that says, you know what, don't give up. People are waiting to read that book. That's what challenges me. Whenever I feel like I don't think, even when I have a writer's block, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to maybe take a break from it. And then I know there's still more that I need to write in this book because generations are waiting. People are waiting on this book. There's someone that needs this book. There's a young lady that needs to read this. There's a young guy that needs to read this. There's a group that just need this book to take them to their own next level. There is a business that needs this book. There's an organization that if they can just use this curriculum, guess what? They'll be able to start using it to teach young girls. There is so much in a book. So, but you must decide, or else the book won't get finished. Jean-Paul Sartre says this. He says, commitment is an act, not a word. Commitment is an act, it's not a word. So you don't just say it, but you must mean it. It's not a word, it's an act. You must act it out. And as I say, you must hold yourself accountable. Have somebody to hold you accountable, but guess what? You must hold yourself accountable as well. And I love this. Vince Lombardi says most people fail not because of a lack of desire, but lack of commitment. They don't fail because of a lack of desire. A lot of us have desire, but then do we have commitment? Commitment is like intentionality. I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna do it. I find, when we go to work every day, for us that have 9 to 5s, it's a commitment. I remember I remember one year when I was at my former 9 to 5. One year it snowed so heavily, and I remember my husband was like, how are you going to go to work? How are you going to? And I was a night supervisor. How are you going to go? And I was like, I don't have a choice here. I have to go to work because if I don't go, who's going to do my job? There's nobody. I can't call anybody at 10 p.m. at night. I have to show up. What was it? It was commitment. So sometimes beyond desire, commitment must push us to do what we need to do. And we must put that thing upon ourselves and say, no, I choose to be committed. Commitment is a choice that you and I can make. Will Smith says the road to success is true commitment. Success is, everybody wants to be successful, but there's always a process that is not always as easy. It can be hard, but we must stay commitment. Trust me, for every people that write books, they know this. When you start writing a book, the start might be exciting. It will come to a time whereby you feel like maybe life gets busy, so you don't have time to sit there and write the book again. Apart from life getting busy, maybe you have a writer book. You're thinking, I don't have anything anymore. You just dump the book. But when you are committed to it, you're going to say, no, 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 I must finish this. I started this work. Like, like a man in the word of God, Nehemiah said, the hands that started this work are going to finish it. I started this, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish this. Somebody is waiting to read this. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to get it done. And then number 4 is that you must design a plan. So for me, I so much believe, and I'm going to come to that, I believe in visualizing the book that you want to write. So somebody wants to write a book. Think of what is the book going to look like? What is it going to, what do I want to write in this? What are the chapters going to look like? What are the things I really want to talk about? What are the things that people need to read in the book? What are the things that are going to help them? You must design a plan. You know, when they're going to build a house, they don't just build a house haphazardly. So they always often would have a plan for the house. And so in writing a book, you must have a plan. You must design a plan for the 30 days before you start. I talk about writing a book in 30 days. You must design a plan. What am I planning to do in this 30 days? What is going to be the plan? I'm not just going to, I'm not just, if imagine in the job, you're going to build a house. And they all said, okay, we're starting to build the house today. Today is February 4th. Let's start building the house. Okay, we'll put the toilet over there. Then they come and say, we forgot to put the room behind the toilet. No, no, no. It will be chaos of the highest order. But no, they would have a plan drawn up. The architect will look at it, then the builder, then they will start to build based on the plan. And when they start to build, they check in with the plan. Am I building according to the pattern on paper? Is it the right way I need to be building? Is that the right way? So you must design a plan of how you want. How do I want the book to be? How many chapters do I want it to have? Do I want to write it in parts? Part 1, part 2, part 3? Do I want it to write in chapters? Do I want it to be a memoir? Do I want it to be a fictional book? Do I want it to be a non-fiction book? So you just have that, you design the book. What do I want the book cover to look like? If it's a fictional book, what kind of characters do I want to have in the book? If it's a non-fiction book, what are the key things I want to talk about? What are the things that people see, that people want to see the book? You would design the plan. It is so key to writing. So writing is beyond you just picking up your pen and starting to write. No, you must design the plan before you even start putting pen to paper. It's so key for you to design the book. Benjamin Franklin says, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. I find when it's almost like when you start a day and you don't have a schedule, you don't have a schedule for the day, and you are running. Guess what? A lot of times you might do things that you were not even planning to do. Somebody might come to your house and say, "Oh, I'm going to the mall. Do you want to join me?" Your 2 hours will be wasted. Oh, I was just passing by. I stopped by your house because you don't have a plan for your own day. They create a plan for your own day for you. That's how writing is. If you don't have a plan to write, you might not write it the way it's meant to come out. If you don't create a plan, you might not write it the way you visualize it. So as you visualize, you must write. And I'm going to come to visualization because it's very key in writing. Number 5 is you must follow the plan. Just follow the plan. The plan will change along the way. You will tweak it. You will tweak it. But guess what? Follow. The plan is the guide. It's like your GPS. It leads you. It helps you to write in an organized way. It helps you to write. And number 6, one of my key things to talk about, be intentional about putting in the work so you can see the results. So writing takes intentionality. You must be willing to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, you will not see the results. If you want to see the results, you and I are going to have to put in the work. So I always say, what do you want to see? So for me, when I start writing, what I do is I often will send a message to my graphic designer. I'll tell him to design the book cover. Why do I do that? Because I want to be able to see that book. You know what it helps me to do? It helps me to get intentional about putting in the work. So I'm thinking, okay, this is the book. I have to do it. I have to finish it. So whatever will help you to be intentional, if you have to ask somebody to hold you accountable, if you have to challenge yourself, whatever you have to do, if you want to see the result, you must put in the work, or else there will be no results at the end of the day. And I wrote here, write a book, the world is waiting. But number 7 is use a mind map. So using a mind map is something that I learned. I learned this while I was taking a course on book coaching. I did a book on book coaching, and this is something that has helped me massively. It is the game changer when you use a mind map to write a book. This is what a mind map looks like. So when you use a mind map, it's simply saying that you are dumping everything you have on your mind, so onto paper. So a mind map is simply saying, what do I have in my mind? Where I have here, where it says mind map, is like the title of your book. And then you would have everything you want to write about the book. So, you know, the benefits of the book would come here. So these are like, so this, where you have green, red, yellow, and blue are like the chapters of the book. So the title would come here. So your mind mapping, you are dumping it. So where you have mind mapping here, you're dumping the title here. You're dumping chapters here. Now you are dumping sub-chapters here. You're dumping things that you want to have in the book. And what mind mapping helps you to do is that it helps you to strategize how the book would look like. It helps you to dump what is up here onto paper. It helps you to see what is, you know, it helps you to see the book really on paper. And I find the more you dump it on paper, the more the book comes alive. The more you dump it on paper, the more you write out the little things. Because before you even start writing the book, you want to be able to have a mind map so that it gives you an idea of what, you know, what exactly you are going to be doing. So it gives you, so a mind map is almost like saying, okay, I have my plan for the house ready, and then I can start building. So I love traveling. So here I believe writing is like you're going on a journey. Writing is a journey. So let's talk about some tips to take in your writing suitcase before we talk about the products we can create from it. So what tips do you need to take in your writing suitcase? Let's look at it. First of all, this is very key. So I'm writing, imagine writing is like you're traveling. You have a suitcase, you pack up your suitcase. Okay, I'm going to write a book. What do I need that are so key to this journey of writing? Your visualization. You must visualize what your book will look like. I've spoken a little bit about that. So that's a key way to, you must let your book come alive in your mind. What do I want this book to look like? What is the book cover going to look like? What topic is it going to, you know, what am I writing about? What are the things I want to see in it? Visualize that book before you even start. This is all before you start writing. Your writing suitcase must contain your visualization. Your writing suitcase must contain your goal. So you must keep your goal in view. Ask yourself questions. What message do I want to bless the world with? How many words do I want my book to have? That's an example. Do I want to have a little book? Do I want to have a small book? Want to have a big book? Do I just want to write, you know, a 5,000 word book? Do I want to write a 10,000 word book? Do I want to write a maybe a mini book? Do I just want to write a teaser just to give people a teaser to another book I'm writing? And I always tell people, I say, keep 1 or 2 books with approximately that number of words inside as you write. It's easy to, like, I find when you go on Amazon, if you want to find out like a book with the number of words, if you go on Amazon, it will tell you the number of books and the number of words in a book. So you can have an idea of how big or how little the book would be like. So I always tell people, I say, when you're writing a book, get books, the kind of books that you want to write. Do I want to write a book like this? Do I want to write a book like this? Whatever kind of book you want to write, you decide how big or how little you want your book to be. And then what genre are you writing in? Put 2 or 3 books in the genre you're inside. It helps to keep you on stock. So for example, if I'm writing on purpose, I can say, okay, I have In Pursuit of Purpose, Dr. Miles Monroe. Sometimes we have what we call the writer's block, whereby it seems like, oh, things are stuck in there. I don't know how to go forward. You know what I would do? I actually have a few books on purpose right here. The Purpose-Driven Life, I can pick it up. In Pursuit of Purpose, I can pick it up. Let me know if you can see the books I'm showing you. Let me know if you can see the books I'm showing you. I have In Pursuit of Purpose. I have The Purpose-Driven Life. I have, this is my book, Woman on Purpose. I have, okay, I just want to make sure you can see the books. Okay, yes, awesome. I have Run the Race. So get books in that genre and begin to, you have to keep your stock. Sometimes you just need to go into that book and maybe read 1 or 2, read some of the chapters. It begins to flow again. So whatever you're writing about, you must have books that are in that genre because it helps to keep your stock while you're writing. It helps to get your creative juices flowing again. It really does help. Okay, next slide. I'm almost coming to the end, and then we'll talk about products. Number 4 is set a goal for the number of words you want to write daily. And this is so key because you don't just want to write haphazardly. So for somebody that wants to write a book, like I mentioned, maybe you're saying, okay, I don't want a book that is so, maybe I want to write a 10,000 word book. Over a period of how long do you want to write it? I teach on writing your book in 30 days because I know it's possible. I've even heard a lady that says you can write a book in one day. So I teach, and I always say for 30 days, okay, if I want to write a book in 30 days, how many words? And I've decided that, okay, maybe I want to write a 10,000 word book. How many words would I need to write each day? What that goal does for you is that it helps you to see it helps you to see that you are being on track. When you have a goal for the number of words that you want to write daily, it helps you. You know what a goal does? It helps you to see. It helps you to measure. Because when you are specific, it's like a smart goal. You are specific. You can measure it. You can see whether you are on track, so that you are not overwhelmed. You don't want to set a goal that you cannot meet. Another thing I mentioned is that in your writing suitcase, you must schedule time to write. Scheduling, I often say what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. You will notice that a lot of times. Schedule a time and a place to write every day. So if you're doing like the example, writing for 30 days, schedule a time. Am I going to write it? Where is my best place to get my creative juices? Is it going to be in the living room? Is it going to be in the bedroom? Maybe when I'm on my bed, I enjoy writing notes. Maybe when I go to the park, my juices flow. Maybe when I go to the library. Maybe on my lunch break. I remember one time it was on my lunch break that I used to utilize to write my book, and it worked for me so well. Or maybe if I'm on my lunch break, I can write that 1 hour I have. I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to write. But schedule a time. You will find that when you schedule it, you get excited to sit there and just write. You sit there. God used this for me many, many years ago when I felt like I didn't have time to write. And then I remember the Holy Spirit said to me, you know what? At the time I had this really, really busy job. I was working nights. I used to come home at 7 a.m. and I worked 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I would come home and I went to bed. And then he said to me, you actually have time to write. I said, where is the time? He said to me, when you come home in the morning, I want you to sleep between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. Wake up at 1, set your alarm between 1 and 2 every day. Sit there and write. If I tell you, that thing became a lifesaver to me, because at the time my life was so busy. You know, I was a full-time pastor's wife. My children were little. I had so much going on, but because of that scheduling time, it helped me to be able to actually find time to write. So schedule a time that would work for you. Ask you, even if your schedule is busy, ask God, what time can I find to write? It might just be 10 minutes. It might be 15 minutes. Some people, maybe on your day off, that might be a day that you want to schedule to write. Some people prefer that they'll just sit there on a full day and just write if they have the time. Some people will just use the everyday. But I always say consistency, it helps you when you write every day. It might just be maybe you wake up 10 minutes earlier in the morning if you're a morning person and you write. For some of us, it might be before we go to bed at night, we write. 10, 15 minutes in a day, we write, and we see that it changes things. You are journaling, you are writing it down. It makes a huge difference. Number 6, I want to say is you must believe that you finish the book. So that belief comes back again. You must believe you're starting the book. I can write this book. Now, even when you feel like there's a writer's block, oh, this is so hard, I can't handle this, believe you will finish that book. You must believe you will finish that book. You must push yourself. You must believe in yourself. You must believe you have what it takes. You must believe somebody needs that book. You must believe you can do it. You can finish that book. So you must believe you will finish that book. Okay. And the 7th thing you must have in your writer's suitcase is you must choose your way of writing. How do you want to write? Choose your way of writing. This is up to you. So after writing, what next? So a lot of us, we write books, and then once the books are done, it's like, okay, I'm done the book. But no, 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 no. I tell them in my writer book, I say, writing is just the beginning. There is so much we can do with that books. So much we can do. So writing your book is just the beginning of the journey. The book, beginning of the journey. So, this is a book that I wrote at the end of last year. And I've always, for most of my other books, a lot of them are just really just books. There's not a lot that I did with a lot of those books. They were just, I had the paperback, I had the ebook. Most of them were like that. And then for some of them, I think for one of them, I had the audiobook. But when I wrote this particular book, I remember the Holy Spirit said to me, a book is not just a book. A book is a business. A book is a brand. A book opens you up to a world of products. And I was like, really? And this book was my eye-opener for the things I was able to create out of it. So when you write a book, now, even in your writing journey, you must begin to ask the question. Remember, you're thinking of your audience. What would my audience need? So now you must begin to ask the question, what would my audience need? What can I create from this book? Other things that my audience might need. So this book actually was a book that came out of last year in March last year. We started the writers. We started the I started cohorts one of the writers bootcamp. So that was the very start. All I started with was what I know to write for my writing my own books. But in the course of it, people began to ask me, do you have a self-paced course that if I'm not even in your writer's bootcamp, I can join? I'm like, I don't have it yet. So when people said to me, do you have a book that if you don't have to teach me, that I can just pick up your book and I can glean and know how to write my book? I'm like, I don't have it yet. So as people began to ask those questions, all people began to say to me, why not write a book on the boot camp that you're teaching? I was like, okay. And after I wrote that book, he began to say to me, some of the projects I can bring out of books. So when you write a book, the very first thing you have is you have the ebook, which fine, yay, which can come in PDF form. You don't even have to spend any money with your PDF. You can just create a PDF from your book, write it in Word, create a PDF, you have your ebook. But guess what? There are now so many other products you can create from it. So from this Write Your Book, I discovered you can have your ebook, you can have your paperback, which a lot of us, we put it on Amazon. People go there and they buy the book. You can have an audiobook from it. People go there. Some people don't like to read, they like to listen. So they can listen to your audiobook while they're driving. It's a great way for them to listen to it. Another thing I created from this, because on my writer's book camp, I actually teach, I teach on my writer book camp, I have a daily email prompt that I send to them. So from that daily email prompt, I was able to create a workbook whereby each day they have something to inspire them. So I created a workbook from that, write your book in 30 days, so that as they're writing, they can also journal. They have things to lead them. They have questions to stir them up. From your book, you can create a worksheet. Some of the problems you have tackled in the book, can you create it on a worksheet so that if somebody picks up that worksheet, they can use that worksheet as well. You can use that worksheet as something to draw people into to get to, like a lead magnet, whereby if you want people to join your email list, you can use a free worksheet you can give people. You can create a checklist for people. You can create a journal. That's one thing that I also created from this book. I have something that I created. I was so excited. It's called an idea journal, because when you're writing a book, a lot of ideas come to you. So I have an idea journal I created from the Write Your Book in 30 Days, where people can document the ideas that come to them on that particular book. So I'm excited about that. Also, so you can have a journal, like my book, Intentionality, Game Changer. There's an intentional growth journal that I'm creating right now. So what products can you create from the book you're writing? Maybe, for example, you're creating, let me give an example. I spoke about somebody that has gone through abuse and they're writing a book about red flags. Can you create a worksheet that people can use? Can you create a workbook from it? Can you create a journal whereby they could document the things that they went through, and it can help them to let go of some of those things? We can create a planner. From this Write Your Book in 30 Days, I was able to create a 30-day inspirational writer's planner so that they can see it at a glance. It inspired them to write for the 30 days. I was going to share this, but I think I forgot. I'm not sure if I have it here. Let me see if I can pull up that planner, because it'll be great to actually show it to you. If I can pull it up here, let me see if I can pull it up. I forgot about that, to put that in there. Okay, I'll see if I can share that with you. Okay, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm talking about this because I want to share this because I know it will help somebody. So just let me see. I think I can share it. I just opened it up. Let's see if we can share it. So I created a 30-day inspirational plan. So that way, as they're writing, they can see it. So from your own book, what products can you create from it? Okay. Oh, it's not coming up. Okay, I think I have to. Let me let it go. I really wanted to share that, but I can't find it. It's somewhere here. I guess because I didn't save it here before, but it's okay. Let's just continue. I wanted to share. So I created a 30-day inspirational planner from the book that people can actually see as they're writing the book. So it inspires them. And I have things like, hello, author. They won. Hello, author. How are you doing? They won. Why is she calling me an author? I'm not even an author yet, but I'm inspiring them. So I have it for the whole 30 days. I was able to create the business of your product masterclass from the Write Your Book in 30 days, because now they finish writing the book. They're thinking, what next do I do with the book? Can you see how I was like, so as you're writing your book, think of products that you can create from that one book. You can create a signature coaching program. Now I do book coaching. Why? From the Write Your Book in 30 days. I have people that I coach one-on-one, people that want to write their book. They don't want to come into the bootcamp. And then I also coach, I have the Write Your Book in 30 Days bootcamp that I do. It's a coaching program. You can have an online course. I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. I just created the self-paced course. People that don't want to come into the program, they just think, I want to just do it on my own. You can create an online course. So there are products that you can create. Yes, and other things you can create. There are more products, but I only put 12 here. You can create a clothing line. Trust me, from your book. You can create a membership site or an academy from your book. What do I mean by this? I just created a membership site whereby the membership site just means that, for example, if you write the Write Your Book in 30 days, I can put all the different products I've created from that product, and then guess what happens? People are able to come there and they have access to all the products. So there is so much that you can give to people. Oh, there is so much. So I want us to go away with that thinking, guess what? What can I do with the book I have? Even the books that you've written already, your current books that you have, for those of us that are already authors, what products can you bring out of those books? What products can you create from them? What people want to see in your niche? I see here one of my people. Okay, Mrs. Kejola Bimto, you speak about excellence. Thank you, Kemi Daniels. You speak about excellence. What products can you create from a book on excellence? Could you create worksheets for people? Could you create a workbook for, talking about excellence, how to create the excellent lifestyle? Could you create a workbook? Maybe think about products. Can you create a clothing line from it? Could you create, and just, there is so much. Could you create a membership site from it? Yes, you have an academy. So yes, you're an example, you created an academy already. So what could you do? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So there are so many things that you can create from it. So would you like to write your book and create products from it? And so I just thought I'm going to share that book, Write Your Book, because it opened my eyes. I was like, wow, thank God for the Holy Spirit. He began to just tell me there is so much to do with this book. And I find with every book that we write, we can create a lot of those things from it. You just have to sit there and think, what does my audience need? What are they asking for me? Remember that with me, people were asking me questions. People were asking me what, and I was just responding to what they needed. Do you have a self-paced course? Do you have a book? That's what made me write that book, actually. So I want to just share three products three of the products with you. If anybody is interested, and then I'm going to take questions. So please don't go. Let me just share those products with you, and then we'll take questions. So this is one of the products. This is what started the whole journey, the Writer's Bootcamp. So if there's anybody here saying, I want to learn how to write my book in 30 days, I have a Writer's Bootcamp happening. It's called Push, because I'm a purpose winner. So my thing is to help people push out the books, to push out, in fact, the greatness on the inside of them. Everything God has put on the inside of you, that is what it is for me. So push means we are on your case. We're starting this. We're pushing these products out. We're pushing out this book. Okay. So that is push. The next one starts on the 21st of February, 2023. So if you would like to be a part of that, I'll drop a link whereby you can register for that. This is another product that I mentioned to you. People were asking me for this. Write your book in 30 days. So people don't like to come to the bootcamp. They just like to do it on their own. So now they get a self-paced course. In the self-paced course, they get all my videos that I teach in the bootcamp. They get the Write Your Book in 30 Days ebook. They get your Write Your Book in 30 Days workbook. They get the worksheets from the course. They get the digital idea journal I mentioned to you. They get the inspirational plan. These are all digital, so I don't have to post it to them. I would have the physical copies, but for those that are online, they get the digital copies. They'll get a 60-minute session with me, a 60-minute session. And then I have something coming up in February this month called the Business of Your Book course. And at that place, I'm going to be teaching each of those products one by one. How can we create each of those products? So I have this coming up on the 23rd of February. It's going to be how to create at least 10 digital products from your book. And I want to teach the how to. This is like we're going into each of this. We want to teach each of these products. How do we create each of these products? That is what I want to teach at that masterclass. It's called the Business of Your Book Masterclass. That also came from that book. So I wanted to share this with us because a lot of people just think, oh, I have a book. I want us to begin to think beyond we have a book. The book is the start of it, or is the extension of our brand. The book is the start of a business. The book is one of the things that God wants to use to take you, to help you to leverage in the world. Your book is one of the ways that you're going to use to impact and influence the people that God has called you to. So a book is a lot. So begin to see that a book is not just a book. There's a lot more beyond a book. So I want to take Q&A now. I want to take Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm also going to drop. Oh, Allah is here. I didn't even realize she was on the boot camp. She was on one of the boot camps. Thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm just seeing people's faces now. I didn't see a lot of us before because I was sharing my screen. Okay. So if anybody has any question, please share your questions. If anybody has any question, let me just pull up the link if anybody wants to join the bootcamp. Does anybody have any question we can answer? Or any feedback on what we just shared today? Any questions or any feedback? I don't want it to be a quiet class. Any questions, any feedback? So if anybody wants to sign up, that's the link to sign up for the bootcamp. Any feedback, any questions that I can answer? Oh, thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you for saying that. So I want us to begin to see our books like it's the extension of our brand. There's so much we can do with our books. When God puts a book on your heart, you can also bless your world with some of the products that you create from it. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any question? So nobody has a question. Have I answered all your questions have I answered all your questions in? Somebody tell me I've answered all their questions. I'm surprised. I normally have questions. Okay, I've answered the questions. Okay, I'm glad I joined it. I'm glad you joined it. I'm glad everybody joined in. So if there are absence of questions, okay, if there oh, thank you so much, Easy. Yes, ma, you can make payments in Canadian. You can make payments in Canadian. What happens is that if you go to the website, even though it says USD, or maybe what I'll do, I will send you a link to make payments in Canadian. Because it's 69 USD. So I would convert it and send you a link so that you can make payments in Canadian as well, if that would work for you. Yeah, that would work for you. I would make payments. So any other questions? Any questions? Did any or from what I shared? Okay, let me ask you a question. What was it that stood out for any of us? I just want like one or two feedbacks. Anything that stood out for any of us? Anything interesting that stood out before we go? Anything? I want one or two people to just share in like a minute or 30 seconds. You can unmute yourself and just share. Thank you, everyone. Anyone? The immense possibilities. I love that. Yes. And that is what I think that was what the Holy Spirit was opening my eyes to. You see, a book has immense possibilities. There is so much we can do with the book. So much. So let's go back and for those of us that have written, let's go back and think, Lord, lead me. What does my audience need? How can I use my book to be an extension of what you've called me to do? How can I begin to create? What product can I begin to create for those, for my audience? What kind of products can I bring? If I have a song, it's a book. Ooh, I love that, I love that. If I have a song, you are so right. It's a book. Wow, that is so powerful. I didn't even think of that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, a book has immense possibilities. So there's so much we can do. So as we go back, let's think of those possibilities and begin to just challenge yourself to think out of the box of just having a book and now do the work. So one thing I want to take away from this book and from this webinar is I have learned about this. What am I going to do with it? So don't just sit on what you learned today. Let's see, what am I going to do with this? How can I use what I've learned today? How can I use, maybe I've been wanting to write a book. Do I need to join the bootcamp? Do I need to, with the books that I've written, what can I do with it? Believing first that I can write again. Just publish my first book. Oh, yeah, lots of energy gone into it. But guess what? That is just the start of it. Now you need to go back to that first book and say, Holy Spirit, open my eyes. What are the other products that are in this book that I can use to be a blessing to my world, that I can use to add value? Okay. Yes, Liz, please ask your question. I see your hand up. Yes, hold yourself accountable. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Pastor Olu. I think coming here, it was a bit of a struggle for me. Uh, 'Cause, like I mentioned to you earlier, that coming here today or trying to write a book was a kind of a step for obedience, towards obedience for me. Because when I wrote my first book, Breaking Fear, I was like, the stress of it
Mm,
actually took me away from saying, I'm not going to try this again. And, something you just mentioned here about uh, things that you can do or get from your writing a book, the ebook, the paperback, audiobook, planner, masterclass, it's a big eye opener for me. It's a big eye opener for me because like I mentioned to you, the book that I came here to start, came here for because I was like, okay, God, you've been saying I should do this. It is a step of obedience in the sense that um, when God asks you to do something, you don't know other doors; those things are
mm,
going to open. For me, I want to also encourage somebody that is listening that um, me coming here today, I was searching that, okay, if I need to do this, who can I trust?
mm,
God just lead me to somebody. And then I found your 6 days or 7 days steps to writing book. I said, oh, I know this sister very well. So I think she's someone I can easily connect with. And when you were sharing this now, and before I even came here, I remember that God was telling me, you are actually holding back what I
mm.
want to do for you by not obeying.
Wow.
And I was listening to a message just 2 days ago, and somebody was talking about when they said the love language of husband and wife or something. And that person asked that, what is the love language of God? And
Mm,
the person that was talking, that was answering the question now said, it is obedience. That
mm.
knocked me off.
Wow.
And God, I'm very sorry. I know I have disobeyed you, not going forward with what you have asked me to do. And I just want to use it to encourage somebody. And I just love the way you made it sound very simple because it's a very tedious thing to actually write a book because as an artist, a gospel artist myself, I was envisioning myself that how can I do this with what I'm doing and the
Mm,
little things I'm doing on the side? How can I do this? And with everything you've just shared within, I think not up to an hour, it's amazing. And I just want to commend you that
mm,
keep going. It's a big encouragement for me today start and I won't look back. I won't
mm.
look back at all. So thank you so much. And I think I will be ready for this by God's grace. So looking forward to the class, definitely, definitely. So I just want to
Wow.
thank you and
Wow.
also to encourage somebody that we should just go for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Wow.
much.
Thank you for sharing that. I know, and that's why I shared, like I shared about a couple of days ago. Whenever I remember what my mentor often says, one of my mentors, Teresa, she'll say, someone in need is waiting at the other end of your obedience. Thank you for sharing that. That was so powerful. Often we don't realize that obedience is not just about you, but it's about the people that God has called you to. So if you don't obey, you're holding somebody back. That one hits me. So, and I guess it's for all of us. So there are things that God is calling us to do, and we're saying, but I don't think I'm ready. But God is saying, somebody is waiting for you to obey. So thank you, Liz, for sharing that. Okay, thank you for all the comments. I see it here. Anybody else wants to share anything before I call it a day? I'm under an hour. And before I call it a day, I want to say thank you once again to everybody that was here, everybody that was able to join. I'm so grateful. Thank you for in the business of life, you were able to join. So for those of us that joined, I've taken a screenshot of it. I will send you the replay so that at least you can watch it. I think that would benefit us. I will send you, I'm taking a screenshot so I can send it to everybody that joins. So that way you can watch the replay if there's anything that you need to get from it. And if you have someone that I know that wants to write a book as well, or turn their book into, looking to turn into a business, you can send them the details as well. You can forward it to them. You can send them to me. I would appreciate that so much. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to let you go. God bless you all. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, Ma.
Bye. Bye-bye, Ma. Bye, everyone.